us. We are going to have Mark Dickie, who is with 28 Digital. He's one of our members and also a member of the board of the BIA. He's going to talk to us today about pivoting your business to be digital-centric. So with the COVID-19 pandemic sort of coming in fast and furious and unexpectedly, people have really taken note of how we do business has changed, and how it is probably to some extent going to remain changed as we move forward. So Mark's going to talk about investing in digital tools and automating some of your business functions, and how this is now no longer a luxury, but something that all businesses are going to have to take seriously. We are going to have kind of an open flow to the presentation this morning. So please feel free to use the raise hand button or put a question in the chat. I'll be monitoring that, and I will step in and let Mark know if somebody has a question or something to add as we go along. And then, of course, any questions will be taken at the end as well. We are recording the session. We will have it linked on our website, and as well as any sort of high-level summary. We'll send that out in the daily email on Monday. All right, so with that, I'm going to mute myself and hand it over to Mark.
Okay, Crystal, you want to bring it up? Okay, cool. All right, good morning, everybody. So when we talked a couple of weeks ago about moving to digital, I guess I can't control it. Okay, so if we just want to slide down a bit, Crystal, sorry. Anyway, we talked about exactly like Andrew just said. Everything's turned sideways, and business has changed. What our clients are expecting from us has even become more important. And there are parts of our businesses that we can move over to digital platforms that will definitely help in productivity, help in customer relationships, and potentially drive business. It was interesting that this Forbes article appeared on March 13th, before everything hit the fan. And if you read it later, but it just talked about how that already, transformation to digital was in place. Many companies had already started a long time ago. And for those that hadn't, it was time to catch up. Basically driven by, obviously, technology, the internet. And because of that, customers having really high expectations of how they're being served. So anyway, you can refer to that, and I put a link to the full article that you can go down, that you can check out later. So what we're going to do here today is really talk about different platforms that can help out different parts of your business, and really demonstrating a lot of the tools that we've implemented for our own business that have been useful, that any small business can look at and consider. So, Crystal, first of all, I'm going to start with mental mindset. It was asked the last time to talk about mental mindset, and I think, again, this is important. When you're looking at your business, obviously you're asking the question, what's the big picture for my business? How can I safeguard my bottom line against future business interruptions? Be curious. Look at what other people are doing. Is it something I can be doing? Don't leave any stone unturned. Be innovative. Maybe your business is ABC today, but you can implement DE, and that helps your business grow. Be a leader to your team, your employees. They're looking for leadership. They're looking at what your competitors are doing. They're questioning, why are we not doing this? Why are we behind the 8 ball? And if you're leading in your local business community and within your industry, then your team feels, I think, maybe much more confident in the business and confident of where you're going with the business. And you're going to have to take some risks. We've invested in platforms, tried them for 6 months, flush, try something else. You got to find what fits for you. And sometimes that takes risks. And I think we're in an environment now for businesses to survive. You have to be pushing it, have to be pushing the envelope, because competition is going to be more fierce. All right. Anyway, so we'll start with operations, and we'll start with communication tools. And like when we started our business, obviously we're using email for everything. We were using email as a chat system. We were using email as a task management system. And, you know, how many times do you go, where was that? It gets all mixed up inside your personal emails, your client emails, other emails that maybe your suppliers or whatnot. So we've, again, went through a couple of platforms. We're with Slack. Everybody's heard of Slack. And it's real easy for you to implement. It's a great way to communicate, and get rid of that having to search through your emails all the time. And again, it's not expensive to get to use tools like this. And you can set up projects, you can set up client accounts, you can really do a setup that's good for your business. And it's great for, especially when you're working remotely, but even internally. Like Louise and I are sitting across from each other and we're slacking each other all the time. Oh, I need a file, I'll Slack it. All right. So, and most importantly, as we all know in all businesses, things fall through the cracks. But your conversations are archived. So if you start debating, well, I did this, I did that, you just go back, you find it. Hey, wow, okay, this is what we decided we were going to do. Competing products, Google has some tools. River was one of the first ones we worked with. It just became too clunky. Microsoft Teams, we have some clients that work with Microsoft Teams. But we found Slack for our business, the price point, and just the ease of use. Everybody loves it. So that's an area where you can increase productivity inside your organization quite easily by putting these tools into place. The next one that follows with that is task management. So again, Julie, I don't know how big your team is, but let's say you've got 10 people on your team, and you're sending people notices to do this or to do that, whatever. Again, if you're stuck doing it in email, things get lost. It gets buried. All right. Task management systems are becoming, well, not becoming, they're becoming really the backbone of many organizations. It's great for assigning tasks. You get to monitor where the task is in its progress. It really takes it beyond written to-do lists, and it does increase productivity. So like, here's notes here, project tasks, keep track of status, deadlines, team collaboration, prioritizing, notifications. So if you have whoever you assigned the task to, they moved from in progress to review, you get a notification, it's time to go in, take a look. You can give feedback through comments and whatnot. And because it's cloud-based, staff can log in at any time, anywhere with mobile apps. So for example, I have the app on my phone. If I'm out somewhere, I get a notification. I can immediately go in, see what's happening, and respond right there. We use ClickUp. It's spectacular. We started with River. Again, we had River for both task management and for our internal chat. Like we said, it just got clunky, didn't serve what we were wanting to do. We fell for the advertising of Monday.com, and at the time, Monday was the big thing everybody was migrating to, and that's what advertising does. And that's one where we actually signed up for 2 years and we bailed after 6 months, and moved over to ClickUp. And ClickUp, if you compare the two of them, it's day and night. ClickUp comes out each week with at least 1 to 3 upgrades that you shake your head and go, oh my God. Like each week, we wait for the upgrade notices every Saturday. You go like, wow, these guys are working. So that would be our recommendation. But those putting in task management if you're not using it, you'll be amazed of all of a sudden how it can streamline your business. And again, most of these plans have free plans for obviously 1 or 2 seats, and even the paid plans, they're not expensive. Like you could be $6-7 US a seat a month, which when you weigh against the productivity that you gain from it, it's the ROI is phenomenal. I'm not going to assume, but I would hope that everybody is using cloud-based file management in 2020 instead of on your desktop or laptop for a whole lot of reasons. As we know, Google Drive and Microsoft's OneDrive are most likely the 2 of the most familiar cloud storage platforms. Again, productivity and collaboration, access anywhere, any device at any time. Also, the security. If how often have you ever heard of friends, or maybe it happened to yourself, that your laptop crashed, you dropped it, you broke it, you lost everything. All right. Our policy with our company is you do not save anything to your desktop. Nothing, nada. Everything is saved on the cloud, and it's backed up. So we don't have to worry about investing in other backup services or whatnot. Google and OneDrive are doing the job for us. We're a Google house for G Suite and everything, but we still use OneDrive because we just find the file management is simpler. A tip, again, no matter how you're doing your stuff now, but if you find your files are all over the place and there's no folder naming conventions or whatnot, take the time. Again, that's a productivity thing. Take the time to sit back and really look at your file hierarchy, your folder naming conventions. It will save you time in the future because you know where things are. So if you have client A and you're looking for their, so let's say for yoga, I don't know if you fill out my health status, whatnot, and that's saved into the Mark Dickie folder, then you know where you're always going to find it because it's the same folder hierarchy for every client or every file that you have going. Feel free to jump in, guys. Next. This is another one, password management. We deal with hundreds of passwords between our own stuff and between our client files, credit cards, everything. LastPass is...
Yeah.
LastPass is another great platform where it stores all your passwords in one place. You can access it across all your devices. You can connect your employees and grant them access to only the files they need access for. And again, securely saves passwords, because one of the most insecure places to store your password is in your Chrome browser. All right, that can be easily hacked. So again, for productivity, knowing where everything is, not having to chase, okay, where did I put that password? Is on a piece of paper somewhere? Is it in an email somewhere? So when we onboard new clients, first thing we do is get ourselves access. Then we store all the passwords into LastPass, and then we share amongst the team members that need them. Best thing we ever did. And don't forget your master password, because LastPass doesn't have it. All right, automation of administrative functions. So our practice is to invest as little time and money on administrative activities and staffing. If we're going to spend $1 on staffing, we need it to be invested in our operations side, where we have people actually working on our projects, working on strategy, working on creativity. and not on someone just shuffling paper all over the place. So we use a platform called Process Street, and primarily we use it for onboarding clients, but you can use it for all kinds of activity inside your business to automate functions that are taking manual time. So for example, when we bring on a new client, I'll fill out this online form that sits on Process Street. It will push welcome emails to clients. It will push the data we need into our drip account for client communications, email communications. It will set up our account in QuickBooks. It will and send task management to ClickUp for our staff to start working on. So for example, set up a Google Tag Manager on a new client's website. That task will automatically be pushed to Xander. I don't need to go in and write a task. That is all being pushed from Process Street. Now, we're using Integromat, which is a tool to use like Zapier to connect different platforms, but it eliminates so much time. People not having to go and do things the old school way. And again, it's in this new world we're living in, you need to free up time to focus on business growth and serving your customers versus being bogged down in manual work. We do recommend that you hire an expert to design and build out your business's automation flow, and then program the integrations. We tried doing it internally. It was costing us more money to do it internally because our staff was not able to be focused on delivering client projects. So we've hired outside help for that, and it's worth it. Back to transactions. So most people are most likely set up for this, but some may not. Are you able to take payment online, over the phone? Have you got that all set up with your credit card provider? We have even one client who recently is concerned. He got hit from taking a phone order, delivering it, and then the customer, for whatever reason, called the credit card company and said he never ever got the delivery. So he got charged back for the amount. All right. So he came to us and he said, he doesn't offer e-commerce on his website, and he didn't even want this part of e-commerce. He wanted for people that called up and said, look, I want to order this, please deliver it. Here's my credit card number. He wants to drive them to a payment gateway, which will most likely launch on Monday. So he's now just going to tell people, all right, here's your invoice number, 1184. Go to abc.com/pay. People will go in. It's integrated with PayPal. Create a nice web page for them, and it's a new payment gateway for him to secure his transactions. Make sure that he doesn't get screwed again in the future. Have you asked clients to pay by Interact e-transfers or EFT transfers, depending on the scale of your business or what business you're in? We've had, in the last 2 months, 3 clients switch to EFT transfers, and they were good payers to start off with, like 20 to 30 days. Now we're getting paid like in 5 because their system is all automated. The invoice comes in, they enter it into the system, and everything goes like that. Are you paying your suppliers by credit card, Interact e-transfers or EFT transfers? Again, eliminate paper, eliminate the time to write that check or process that check. Just going to your bank account. We have 2 companies, and the only checks we ever have are the checks, the blank checks that the bank gives us when we open up the account. And I chuckled when I first met Andrea, because we were in business, I think, over almost 2 years, and the first check we ever wrote was for our BBIA membership. At the time, they weren't accepting e-transfers. And I remember I had to go look. I had to go look and see where I had the checks because we had never written a check. I think in 4 years of business, we've maybe written 2 or 3 checks. That's it. It's just faster, quicker, and those are just little things that you can implement that just, again, back to increasing productivity. And quite frankly, you know, again, until there's a vaccine, those envelopes, you know, how many hands touch through those envelopes, you know? And even when they're saying the gloves aren't, now they're saying the gloves aren't necessarily a precaution, you know, it's, I think if we can eliminate that paper as a society, that's a good start for a whole lot of reasons. Accounting. Now, I'm going to look here. I doubt if anybody in this room, in this group, is still on Simply Accounting DOS from 20 years ago. We were up until 2 years ago. And Louise is old school and doesn't like change. And so our CA, our bookkeeper, and myself, we finally beat her up and said, look, let's get into the real world. And moving to QuickBooks was, again, it was a pain in the butt to transfer everything. But once it was done, even Louise admits now that we should have done it years ago. Again, productivity, just, you know, you integrate your bank account, your credit cards, everything with your QuickBooks system or FreshBooks. And, you know, you've got real-time data at your fingertips. You know where your money's at all times. And the other thing too, it's not inexpensive. I think we pay about $50 a month for the payroll module, $70. It saves hours of work each month on payroll. And at the year end, when preparing T4s would take a day, now it's like, I think maybe an hour's worth of work, just double checking everything. So again, if you're not using those tools, consider it, because again, you will increase productivity. All right. And again, pushing invoices to your customers, receiving payments, it makes life easier. I put here, be creative. Was talking to a client, shared this with a couple of people yesterday, or maybe everybody. Look at replacing menus with QR codes. So all kinds of business have different kinds of menus. You go into a spa, they hand you a booklet with here's all the different spa packages that you could purchase. Obviously restaurants. So I think it's smart. It's not our idea. It was a client's idea. And I don't know if he came up with the idea or grabbed it from somebody else, but they're going to place QR codes strategically around their place of business. And if somebody wants to order something, they're just going to scan it up. The menu will come on their phone and they will order directly from their phone. So one, it removes having an item on the property that may carry the virus. Obviously reduce printing costs, because as we know, menus become out of date quite quickly sometimes. The flip of that is an electronic file is quick to update, okay? And instant ordering and payments. So maybe in the long run, that might have an impact on staffing, where maybe they need less people taking orders, or so less people on the floor, because they're not necessarily being the wait staff, they're just being servers. So in this new world where restaurants are going to be working somewhere between 30 and 50% capacity, and I say 30% because of the floor plan layouts, these are tools that can help a business operate with less costs. Any questions on operations? And I might be missing stuff here, guys. I'm not professing to be an expert on transformation. These are just ideas for you to maybe walk away and say, hey, you know what, that was something, and then you turn it into what it works for you.
Excuse me, are you going to talk about staff scheduling at all?
I did not talk about staff scheduling, but that's actually a very smart one. Sorry.
No, I'm just wondering if that's something that you have on the agenda.
No, I didn't, Judy. Sorry, very.
We don't have to today. I just wondered.
No, but that's a good point. I'll look for tools on that.
Okay.
So customer relationships. So again, we've talked about this a lot over the last few weeks. Know who your customers are. Deploy a process to collect information on all clients and prospects. For those of you that have POS systems, do they have all the features that you need in this new world to be able to collect this data? Are there add-ons that you can purchase, plugins and whatnot? Because customer data is gold. I think we all realized that if for those of us that didn't have it easily, all in one place, in a MailChimp account or in a CRM somewhere, and that we're just grabbing files all over the place to find our client lists. This is important going forward. Again, hopefully we don't go through a second wave, but let's assume we are, all right? And let's be prepared. And having this customer information at your fingertips helps you communicate with them better. As I mentioned the other day, it's frustrating when businesses don't reach out to you. Have a MailChimp account, a constant contact, drip, whatever is your fancy. Again, some of them cost nothing for up to 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers. Use them to communicate sales promo, company news, business changes, anything. This can be the cornerstone of your business. And don't be afraid of, yeah.
Hi, it's Ken here. Sorry to interrupt you there.
No problem.
I remember several weeks ago when I first heard you talk about MailChimp and email lists, and I believed you, but I hadn't actually played with it or tried it. So I actually experimented with MailChimp last night for the first time and just trying to put together a little survey. And in it, I only have just a couple client contacts. I'll throw you in there eventually or soon. And I just did this test survey, and I was just so impressed with how easy it was. I set myself up on the free one. Yep. If I want to invest more, I can spend $9 a month, and I'll see what the free one does for me. But it was, it made it really easy, and it's funny because I didn't know, I didn't know anything about it, and just having used it, I say, wow, I wish I had known about it long before. And I realized there's far more complicated tools out there, and this was just my first foray into it, but. I was very impressed, and I'm starting to see, how I could use it. So I just wanted to offer that feedback on someone who just tried it for the first time last night.
These are easy to use tools. If somebody has the patience, they can work through it. Just got to remind everybody to follow Castle compliance so that you don't get thrown in jail. And the last comment I want to say here is don't be afraid of over communicating. So I'll give you an example. We're running, working with the Almont General Hospital Foundation and Carleton Place District Hospital Foundation right now on a huge fundraiser. And last week was their first early bird draw. So their database, I don't know, let's say it's just slight of 4,000 people. And so we sent out an email on Thursday morning, and we generated most likely, I think it was $12,000 off of that email. All right. And because we're tracking everything. So we had a second email go out to everybody on the list that did not open up the email on Thursday, Friday morning at 8 a.m. Now, there was debate internally whether that was too much. And we said, well, let's see. We generated another $8,000 worth of revenue off of that second email. So had we decided to be cautious and be afraid of burning the subscribers, we would not have generated that extra $8,000 worth of revenue. So in total, that email list last week for the early bird generated $20,000 for us. So my feeling is this, is that if somebody's going to unsubscribe, they're going to unsubscribe anyway. All right. So you're better off working your list and using your list versus being afraid of offending someone. But you have to have good value. You have to have great content to share. Just don't take for granted that the list will always be there. We talked about nurturing your future clients. So implementing, we talked a bit about this a couple of weeks ago, implementing an inbound marketing program for your business that nurtures relationships. So people come to your website via search engines, advertising, social media, all kinds of different referral sources. And because they're looking for a business like yours. Creating drip campaigns with good quality content can help drive up conversions, which means sales. But what you need to do is exchange something to get that email address. So it could be white papers, special discounts, VIP club. There's all kinds of tactics that you can implement. And again, we see something, we see a Facebook ad, and, oh, wow, that's interesting. And we click on, and they give us a couple of paragraphs of whet our appetite, sign up to get the full document. And we sign up. And yeah, we get a phone call in a day or so from somebody. We just say, look, signed up for the document, take me off your list, and be polite about it. Anyway, Lead G2 is a company out of the States that an old radio colleague, guy I know, has been running for several years. He's got great content on that website, lots of great blogs and stuff like that, if anybody ever wants to reference it. Customer portals and or apps. Engage a customer in sharing responsibility for your business relationship. And I want to pull up here. Oh no, I can't. Anyway, we started doing business with Green Unlimited for our lawn care. I tell you, these guys have it from A to Z. The moment you sign up, you're given access to your own portal. You see a summary of what you've purchased. You see the dates that it was done. I can order stuff, new extra treatments or whatnot through there. It's a really great tool, and just love it. And they're really connected from end to end, to the point that we had our first service this past few days ago. So not only did we get a phone call the day before saying we'll be there tomorrow for your servicing, we got a phone call about 10 minutes before the technician showed up saying he was on his way. And then afterwards, we get this nice summary email, which I can circulate afterwards, I guess, showing the work that they did, giving us some feedback on the treatments. And at the end, they're trying to upsell me with a $99 spring tree and shrub special. Like genius, right there. So they take their X number. I figure by the end of this year, we'll most likely have spending 50% more money with them than we had planned, just because they're really good at upselling. But that's how a company has really established digital as an important part of it with their client relationship, and they're using it very, very well. A negative is with Tommy Guns. I love getting my hair cut at Tommy Guns. Been going there since I moved to Ottawa 6 years ago. They introduced an app, I'm going to say two and a half years ago. Now, it's not critically important, but I just don't understand why you introduce an app to, like in 2018, and it's not integrated with the POS system to keep track of your loyalty plan. So your free haircuts after 10 haircuts. Like, again, it doesn't matter. They tell you, but I just I haven't understood. I've expressed it to them. I don't understand. How do you launch an app in 2018 that's not integrated to your POS system? If they were a one store standalone barber, I get it, but they're a chain, so why do it half-assed? So I'm just saying is that if you go down that road, do it well. And again, a lot of people, we got to build it ourselves. We got to hire somebody to build something unique to us. There's so many app providers out there that have vertical solutions. for example, when I was looking at Green Unlimited, trying to figure out who was providing their system, it seems like Lawn Gateway, and I noticed like 4 other uh, yard companies, yard work companies using the same gateway. So obviously somebody's got a vertical happening there. Revenue generation, have an online presence. If you don't have a website, and believe it or not, some people don't, build one now. If you have a website that is more than 18 months old, is it still doing the job you need to do in this new business environment? Is it just a brochure, or does it work for you? All right. And evaluate the third-party suppliers, i.e. reservation plugins. There's restaurants in this town that are working with a reservation system that seriously has not been, its user experience has not been upgraded, I think, in over a decade. And it is clunky, and it is, I understand people wanting to save money, but when you put it next to something like Open Table, it's, I just don't get it. And even for the spas and maybe the yoga studios and whatnot, people are expecting nice, modern, professional looking, something that walks them through the process very easily, versus something that looks like it was developed in 2015 or older. And if you're building a new website, strongly recommend hiring a professional content developer for your web copy. It will make the world of difference in the conversions on your website and how people engage with your website. Data. And again, we onboarded 2 new clients this week, and neither of them had a Google Analytics account on their website. 2020. You integrate it with your Google Ads, you set up conversion tracking, Google remarketing, Facebook pixels, do all of that stuff at the beginning, even if you're not starting an ad campaign, because you're building your custom audiences that you can then advertise to later on. Set up your soft and hard goals. So get directions or add to cart as examples. And use platforms like CallRail to measure phone and form leads you receive from your online and offline marketing efforts. You need to know your data. What's working, what's not working. So back to an example of the fundraising event we're doing. We are tracking. I think we'll be able to track at the end of the day 75% of exactly where the ticket sales came from. And really, there's a couple of partners that are offering free ads that have not used our tracking links. So the direct none is becoming a referral traffic is quite huge. But other than that, we know what's coming from every other source. What's coming from organic social, what's coming from paid social, what's coming from local websites. We're tracking everything. We know. So when we do this the next time, we know where to put our focus.
Hey Mark, it's Ken again. Just a quick question concerning Google Analytics. I've looked at it a few times, haven't really tried it yet. Is it, and quite honestly, I don't really know just yet what I need to do with it, so I guess that's probably the foundation point. But is it easy enough, and does it take you through the steps well enough that you could just kind of plug away at it for an hour, a couple hours, put in the effort? And
well, your site's a Wix site, right? It's a Wix site? Okay. Your site's a Wix site, right? Or Squarespace? I don't. Your platform that you're using is Wix or Squarespace, right?
Well, it's GoDaddy, so.
Oh, GoDaddy. There should be, Crystal, if you know the answer to this question, there should be a easy hit a button, I think, most likely in the back end of the GoDaddy platform. It should be, I'm going to assume it should be easy to do.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh.
GoDaddy has some analytics there, and I see some limited stuff. But are you talking about easy to do, meaning kind of integrate and
Yeah, like it should
Okay.
be like it.
Okay, perfect.
Andrew?
I'll look into that. I definitely want to do it. Thanks.
Yeah, Andrew.
Oh, I was just going to just chime in about the fact that we're actually putting one of the future webinars we're putting together right now is on using Google for your business and Google Analytics, Google My Business, that sort of thing. I think, as Mark will probably let you know, that that's probably a whole webinar in itself. So we will be presenting that webinar in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Watch for more on that.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So again, coming back, know your data. You know your financials. Know your online data. E-commerce. So we've talked a lot about this. If you have a product or service that can be sold online, make the move now. We've had 2 months of thinking about things. Let's assume a second wave is going to come in the fall. So we've got 4 to 5 months to get things in place. And it could mitigate revenue losses in the future. Again, you look at it, go, hey, I've got 1,000 SKUs. Start with your best sellers. Don't have to put it all on, if you sell 1 unit a year, tell you what, putting it online is most likely not going to increase it to 2. Start with your best sellers. If you're unable to integrate with your existing inventory system for whatever reason, find a workaround to monitor inventory levels. So however that, if you carry, depending on what level of inventory you carry, just figure it out instead of doing nothing. All right. Now, this is very important. If you're going to go down that road, use a shopping platform that is capable of providing the tools that you're going to need to run a proper online business. Cross-selling, taking reviews, being able to integrate with Google Shopping and Amazon. So for example, huge retailer in the city here hired us last summer to get them up and going on shopping. They had just invested in a new CRM that had a shopping platform. Couldn't integrate it with Google Shopping because it didn't support what Google requires to run a proper shopping campaign through its Google Shopping advertising platform. They are having to invest in hiring programmers to build integrations so that we can pull the data properly into Google. Had they spent a bit more money, they would have saved a lot more money. So when you're evaluating different platforms, really kick the tires and make sure that it's going to do what you need it to do in the future, not just today, because it could result in expensive programming costs. All right. Free is very seldom free. All right. So popular like Shopify, my first experience with Shopify is this fundraising initiative that we're doing. The platform is amazing. The data you get in the back end is incredible. WooCommerce we've worked with, very nice. Lightspeed is another solution out there, and Squarespace and Wix do offer e-commerce solutions. I'll leave it at that. And what can you do? So obviously, we all think of physical goods, but there's booking services. Like Joe said yesterday about now trying to work out a deal with Uber for skate sharpening. Very smart. And then I think of, the businesses that got affected, like the fitness classes, music classes, yoga classes, which some just haven't reopened to anything. But introduce virtual memberships. Maybe I have when they reopen, I have a in-person membership. Maybe I have a combination. Because again, going out in January when it's minus 35 degrees to go to your yoga class versus just signing on at 7 o'clock and joining your class online, it takes away from that that community of socializing together. And maybe the class ends with a chit chat afterwards, or a glass of wine or something like that, or a glass of tea, a cup of tea. Add that to it to make it more of that social experience versus just grabbing a Tara Stiles video for free off of YouTube. But I think, you know, a lot of those businesses in that category suffered greatly because they've had to close 100%. So how do I not have to close 100% next time? And I think just being creative and offering that value, and if you got great teachers, and I think, you know, this time around it came hard and fast. I don't think everybody expects it for free. You know, if you're providing value and it's still part of the club that you belong to, and you want to support that club, I think it's something to look at. An idea generator. Upselling. We talked about the Green Unlimited. So there's emails or text tools that can be used. Automate next service appointments. This is something that I have a bit of an issue with. Don't wait for your customer to book. Put them on a plan. I'll tell you a little story. I might have shared it with some of you. So years ago, when I had hair, all right, I'd get a cut, and then I'd go 9 weeks. So I'd go from really looking well to a mess, all right? And then I'd go, okay, I gotta go get my hair cut. So one day I was having lunch at a restaurant, walking, see this new hair place, walk in. Yep, they could take me right now. Sat down, lady's name was Carol, she did a great cut. So at the end of our session, she hands me her card and she goes, next time you need a cut, give me a call. And I looked at her and I pulled out my wallet and I gave her my card and I said, no, let's go to your calendar right now. And you're going to book an appointment 5 weeks from this Saturday. And you're going to call me on Monday to see if I am still available Saturday at 11 o'clock for that appointment. She goes, what do you mean? I said, look, this is I go every 9 weeks. So 52 weeks in a year. If you wait for me to call, you're going to get 5 to 6 haircuts out of me a year. I said, if you call me every 5 weeks, you're going to get 10 haircuts out of me a year. So my value to you goes from, let's say it was $20, goes from $100 to $200 a year. She looked at me. She goes, okay. At the end of the year, so go ahead a year. She goes, Mark, I want to tell you, I did that with all of my customers. I made more money this past year. I said, because she only did men, right? So men aren't like women where, you know, you've got your appointment every 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it is. Men, okay, it's very wishy-washy. And I don't understand why a lot of service businesses don't take that initiative to book that next appointment. Now, today, so this, I'm going back 20-some, 30 years ago, all right? Today, with the tools that we have to automate that next service appointment, it's there at your fingertips, and it's not expensive to set up, and you will increase the average value per customer if you work it properly.
Mark, I agree with you. I think men are so much easier to just go back and just say, okay, it's time to sign up again. I've done this with many of my clients and it works so well. I just, you know, they just say, oh, okay, what do I need to do? And I said, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And it's done. They're loving it. Like they love it.
Exactly, Judy. And in today's world with e-commerce, I could give them my credit card. I don't even have to pay. Oh, I give a $5 tip for a haircut. Boom. I walk in, cut my hair, walk out. Have a nice day. See you in 5 weeks. You know, and you're exactly right, Judy. It's don't wait for the business to come to you. Create the business for yourself. Loyalty programs to build repeat visits. Again, there's all kinds of different programs out there. That could be a whole session in itself. But again, a lot of them are digital, and especially for the restaurant business and some of the service business where with emails and text follow-ups after people have been into your place of business and signed up, you know, the Wi-Fi, you know, you sign up for free Wi-Fi. You give them your email address, and next thing you know, you're being served ads from that establishment. Smart tools. All right, summary. You don't need to be big to implement these tools. Digital is the great equalizer. It can be for your business, your small business. We've discussed how it can be for advertising your business. These are easy and affordable tools to put into place that will increase productivity. They're going to create better customer experiences. And the end result is you're going to drive sales. So yeah. I don't know. Open floor. Any comments? Any questions?
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I think I really like what you said about the upselling, and I think a lot of people probably haven't even thought about that before, but it is a great way to increase the frequency, especially like you said in service, but also in general. I know even for myself, prior to COVID, before I would go to any store or restaurant or anything, I would always look them up online, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's looking for their website. Even if I'm not planning to make an online purchase, which I think is going to be more frequently the case now. But it's really your chance, like Mark said, even if you're small, to make a really great first impression or a really bad one. And I can tell you, I know even personally for myself, after listening to what Mark just said, I have done that many times where I've chosen where to go based on their digital offering. So kind of like judging the book by the cover, but I'm sure it's not.
It happens all the time, and there's data to support that. And like I said earlier, there's no such thing as free or cheap. All right. And would you have someone greet customers into your store looking like crap? You know, hair not washed in 3 or 4 days, you know, dirty hands, dirty pants, wearing flip-flops, a ratty old t-shirt. Well, some people's websites look like that. And if their website looks like that, then what does their business look like? Their physical location. How am I going to be treated? What's their customer service like? There's so many subtle decisions that are being made. And unfortunately, we live in a world where, you know, we do judge a book by its cover. But a business is a business, and putting that the right foot forward is very, very important. And if and it's got to be easy to flow. Like you go to some sites and you go like, okay, did I and I'll complain with some restaurant sites, like, did that transaction get completed? Like, you know, did that order go through? Like, you know, like it.
Mark, Charmian has a question.
Yep.
Go ahead, Char.
Hi, Mark. Hi, guys.
Hi.
That was lovely. Thank you so much. Do you think QuickBooks could be used as that customer portal you were talking about? Because a lot of people will call us or email us asking, you know, can you give me my receipts or tell me how often I've been in the past 6 months or whatever. For us, though, we have to have a signature on our receipts. So what my staff does right now is we go into QuickBooks and we make a PDF of all of their receipts and send it to them. And if the insurance companies require a signature, well, then they'll have to come in and get that for us. But can we forward them? Do you think we could set something up with QuickBooks so we can forward them to QuickBooks and say, just log in there and you'll see all of your past?
We don't use QuickBooks that way, but I would be surprised if they do not have a plugin that did offer that. Like I said, we don't use it that way, but I'd be surprised if there's not a third party plugin.
Okay.
That wouldn't. I'll go take a look afterwards. I was looking at some stuff, but I didn't pay attention to it earlier. and there was 4 or 5 plugins that they had, and maybe one of them allows for that. So do you think the insurance companies will move away from having to have a requirement for a signature?
It's actually more the college that would
You think the
require
college
that.
will move? You think the college will move away from that?
No, because there's too much fraud. And it's still, a lot of people are still getting away with it, actually. A lot of businesses are getting away with not doing it. So many people don't do it. Like, for an example, my physiotherapist, where she worked before she came to us, they didn't require a signature. She got a call, long story short, she got a call from one of the insurance companies saying, did you see this person for the 50 visits that she's billing? And she said, I've got records for 10 of those 50 visits, so that person actually took her receipt, copied, pasted, cut, paste, and all that, and created new receipts, and then billed over $5,000 over a year and a half. So having our signature on it, and now our colleges are allowing stamps. Having our signature on it will eliminate that kind of fraud. And even if that weren't allowed, I would always do it.
So yeah, interesting issue. So David made a good point. Like, it's easy to push. Like, we push our invoices from QuickBooks all the time, and our clients can pay. We don't have them paying through the invoice. We do it all the time. We have suppliers that push us QuickBooks invoices, and we pay, right from the invoice. But QuickBooks is pretty cool. Like, you could push that receipt to them by email and not have to print it out.
Yeah, we do that. And then for some people, if they need the signature, and then there are still, like, government, Sun Life, they rarely ask for a signature. But,
so does it have to, but could it be an e-signature that you push them on the PDF that you email them?
I don't think that would be a problem. How do you defend against that, though? Defend against?
Because the thing is, most people, I don't know. I'm just saying it's something for this your society organization to discuss. But I think there's going to be most likely a lot of changes in those regards. Just because, again, it's how do you become a touchless organization.
Yeah.
I think probably in the future it would be that you as a provider give it directly to the insurance company.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a really good thing to push as well.
Like dentists do now, and
yeah, exactly.
So.
Pharmacists.
Yeah.
Well, our college is useless, so I don't see any changes like that. Thank you, Mark. That's lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mark, do I have a preference between DocuSign and Adobe Sign? I prefer Adobe Sign. Now, look, that could be influenced by the fact that we use a lot of the features in Creative Cloud. I used to use DocuSign. I just find it's easier with Adobe.
Okay.
But like I said, that could be really influenced by the fact that we're just established with Creative Cloud.
Okay, so it's 11:05. So just checking the time here. I know a lot of people will have to hop off the call, and I know Julie's saying that her power is waning. So unless there are any further questions, I think we'll end it here. We'll definitely share this electronically and I'll put it on our website as well. I think there's a lot of discussion, what I've noticed through this presentation about a couple of different topics. So that's given us some food for thought. Maybe we will, represent this webinar in the future with a focus on those particular topics where there seem to be a lot of questions. And David's just, again, saying thanks to Mark and the BIA, and thanks Thanks for participating, David, at the webinars, but also on the weekly calls. We definitely have every single week have generated some really great discussion, and a lot of really great ideas have come out of that that forum. So with that, hope to see all of you on next Wednesday's 10 a.m. open call. And I had put in the chat, the subject for next Thursday's webinar is on PPE. Where to find it. We've created a portal, so we'll be featuring that, as well as what the different sectors in the retail industry, what is required for your different type of business in terms of government guidelines and regulations for reopening. Mark, did you have any closing?
Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your positive feedback. And when this is sent out by Crystal next week or Andrea next week, share it with your colleagues and friends that are in businesses. There's data here that I'm sure can help people. So,
yeah. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.